Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. Today we are going to be learning how to crochet this beautiful square made out of 4 different squares. Yes, how fun! So if you want to learn how to crochet this one, come with me and let's learn how to crochet this one together.
Peel off a layer and breathe. Lift up your head and lead. Count the stars up before you leave. Save a kiss.
So here are the yarns that I'm going to be using. First we have 3 shades of the Iggy yarn by Tesland, and then also by Tesland I have the Gypsy yarn, this beautiful colorful yarn that goes really nicely with the Iggy combination right here. So for the Gypsy I'm doing the flower petals and also the last round of the square. And then with these ones here, I'm doing the granny square, basically in between the flower and the last round. I'm going to be linking all the shades and these yarns in the description, so feel free to check it out. And then here for the tools, I have a tapestry needle so that we can weave in our ends, a small pair of scissors, a 3mm hook, and also a measuring tape so that I can measure the square for you, in which I'm going to be doing this right now. And this yarn, it's a number 2 yarn weight, if you are wondering. That's why I'm using a 3mm hook. And the sizing for the square, it's 11 by 11 centimeters, 4.5 by 4.5 inches. So that's the sizing of the square. So now I don't need the measuring tape anymore. So now we are going to be learning how to crochet this super fun square. First, I'm going to be starting with the middle of the flower in yellow. So with the yellow, I'm going to be creating a magic ring first. And then I'm going to be chaining 3, in which counts as the first stitch. And then going around the magic ring, I'm going to be creating 15 double crochets. For this part here, depending on the size you want, for the middle of the flower, you can do single crochets, you can do half double crochets, or you can also do double crochets as I am doing for mine. So in total, we should have 16 stitches going around the magic ring. So once you have all the 16 stitches going around the magic ring, we are going to then close the magic ring by pulling this tail nice and tight until it closes the middle, as you can see. And all we have to do now is go into the chain 3 that we've created at the beginning, and then go right into that chain 3 and then slip stitch. Make sure that it's nice and tight, and then slip stitch the 2 sides together. So this one, it's our very first round. Make sure that the middle is nice and closed. So now we can chain 1, cut this yarn and fasten off, because now we are going to be creating the petals. So now you're going to be choosing the next shade you want to use. I'm going to be using the Gypsy. So this shade, it's this one here. I'm not going to pronounce this because I'm pretty sure I'm going to say it wrong, but you can see the color right here. So get the next shade, and then we are going to be creating a slip knot. Go into any stitch you want. I'm going to be going right here, and then you're going to pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through. I like to attach my yarn with a single crochet. I think it looks a little bit better at the beginning. And then I'm going to be chaining 2. You can chain 1 or chain 2 if you want. And now we are going to be creating a puff stitch, but in a different way. So this one does count as the first stitch. So into that same stitch, we are going to be creating 4 double crochets. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. So once you have the 5 stitches, because we are counting the chain 3, the chain 2 in this case with the single crochet, the chain at the beginning as a stitch, you're just going to then release, pull a little bit the loop up, and then release the hook from that loop. You're gonna go through the chain at the beginning, and then you're going to be grabbing the loop. So you can see I'm placing it right on top, and then I'm grabbing the loop, and then you're gonna go through that stitch just like this, and then you're going to be pulling that nice and tight. And that's how you create a puff stitch, a popcorn stitch, just like that. And now we are going to chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and then we are going to jump right into the next puff stitch. So now you want to make sure that you have the right amount of stitches going around, so you know exactly which one you're going to skip. So we are going to be counting from this side. Make sure that you have 16 stitches. This one is the first one. So 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. So you see, this one here, it's stitch number 16. So we have to skip this one, and we're gonna go into this next one here. So wrap the yarn around the hook, skip the next stitch, which for me is this one, go into the next one, pull up a loop, and then create the first double crochet, and then following by 4 double crochets into that same stitch. So in total you should have into this stitch 5 double crochets for us to complete a puff stitch. So here we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So now it's going to be a little bit easier. So you're gonna go into the first one. So the first stitch is this one from the first double crochet. So I didn't show you here, but all you have to do is when you finish this one, you just pull a little bit of the loop, release it, leave it here. And then you're going to be finding the first stitch from this group, and then you're going to be grabbing the loop, and then you're going to pass it through that first stitch, and then you can just pull nice and tight so that it closes all the stitches together and it will create this little bumpy petal that it's 3D. So it looks like this, as you can see. It has like a little point. I'm going to show you one more time, just so you get the hang of it. And then we are going to chain 3. From now on, it's easier to find the stitches, so you're going to be skipping the next one, and into the following one, we are going to be creating 5 double crochets. Pull the loop a little bit, release, go into the first stitch from this little group of 5 double crochets. So we have the chain 3, and you will see this is the first one. It's the stitch right on top of the first double crochet. Grab the loop, pass it through that stitch, pull nice and tight, and then continue. So chain 3, skip a stitch into the next one, create the next puff stitch. And that's all we are going to be doing for the next round. So I'm going to be repeating the same here all the way around, and then I'm going to meet you right at the end. So this one is going to be petal number 8, so that we can complete the second round. And then all we have to do now is to chain 3. You will find any stitch from behind the first petal, any that you can find, it doesn't matter. And then you just go into slip stitch, chain 1, cut the yarn, and then you can fasten off. So this is how the flower looks like now. So this is the front and the right side, and here's the reverse. You can see that we have the little chain 3s all the way around, so that we can create the granny square around this flower. And we are going to be working all the 3 rounds, the very first 3 on the right side, and then all the rest we are going to be turning the project because we are working just on half of the square, going back and forth. You will see. So now you can choose the next shade. I am using white. So go ahead and create a slip knot. And we are going to be attaching this yarn into any of the chain 3. So I'm going to be choosing this one. You can choose any. So go around that chain 3, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through. So I do with a single crochet. And then I chain 2 to start, because this is going to be our granny square now. So we are going to be creating the first cluster here. So into this same chain 3, we are going to be creating 2 double crochets. And then we are going to chain 1, and then into the next chain 3, we are going to be using all the chain 3s going around. So into the next one, so you can turn the flower here like that. So it's easier to find the chain 3s. So into the next chain 3, we are going to be doing 3 double crochets. So 1, 2, and 3. And then we are going to chain 2 and 3 double crochets into that same chain 3 space. And then chain 1, go into the next chain 3 space, and then create 3 double crochets. Chain 1 and create the next corner into the next chain 3 space. So 3 double crochets, a chain of 2, and 3 double crochets. So now chain 1 and 3 double crochets into the next chain 3 space. And then you can just keep on repeating the same steps all the way around, making sure that you have 4 corners in total. So I'm going to be doing now my next corner. So I'm going to chain 1 and then into the next chain 3. I'm going to be doing 3 double crochets, a chain of 2, and 3 double crochets. So as you can see, I have completed the 3 double crochets in the next corner, the last corner. So all we have to do now is to chain 1 and then slip stitch into the chain at the beginning, just like that. And then we can now fasten off. So chain 1, cut the yarn, and fasten off. So now from here we are going to be starting with the kind of the sided or half of the granny square pattern into this square here. So we are going to be working only into 2 sides of the square, so the one at the top and the one on the side. The other one and the one at the bottom, we are going to be leaving it empty, and we are not going to be doing anything until the very last round. So we are going to be just working sideways now. Get the next shade you want to use. I'm using here the copper, and we are going to be doing 2 rows with the copper and then 2 rows with the yellow, and then the last round is going to be with the colorful yarn again. So I'm going to be starting with a slip knot. So now we are going to be choosing any of the chain 2 spaces to attach this yarn here in place. I'm going to be doing into this one. You can choose any other you want. And we are going to be starting, and we are going to be attaching the yarn here on the right side, but then we are going to be turning, and we are going to be starting this row into the reverse of the square. I'm going to show you. So first you're going to be attaching with a single crochet into any chain 2 space like this, and then I'm going to chain 2. And now we are going to be just turning the project like this. And then we are going to be creating 3 double crochets into this very first chain 2 space. So we have to create the corner, and we want to make sure that it's as straight as possible here on the side. So now we are going to chain 1, and then into the next chain 1 space, we are going to be doing 3 double crochets. Chain 1, and then 3 double crochets into the next chain 1 space. Chain 1, and then now we are going to be creating the corner. So we are going to be creating into this chain 2 space 3 double crochets, a chain of 2, and 3 double crochets, all into the same chain 2 space, into that corner. And then from here, you are just going to be following the pattern. So you're going to chain 1, into the next chain 1 space, 3 double crochets. Chain 1, into the next chain 1 space, 3 double crochets, and then chain 1 into the last. This is going to be our last stitch, so we are going to be leaving the bottom and one of the sides without doing anything. So into this last corner, we are going to be just doing 3 double crochets, so that both sides are exactly the same. So we are going to be starting with a chain of 3. I like to start with a chain of 3, but you can do a 4 as well if you want. I just think that the little gap here on the side looks even with all the other gaps with a chain of 3 rather than a chain of 4, but it's going to be up to you how you're going to be doing that. So chain 3, turn project. So now we are going to be working on the right side of the flower, as you can see. And then we are going to be doing into the chain 1 space 3 double crochets. So now we are basically going to be following the granny square pattern on the top and the other side, making sure that you do the corner that we have to do. So we are going to chain 1, 3 double crochets into the next chain 1 space, chain 1, 3 double crochets into the next chain 1 space, and then chain 1 and corner on top of corner. So 3 double crochets, a chain of 2, and 3 double crochets. So now from here, you are going to chain 1, and then you're going to be following the same steps all the way down. So when you've created the last cluster, we are going to then chain 1, and then we are going to be creating 1 double crochet into the chain that we've created right at the beginning. So we have a single crochet and a chain 2. Into that chain 2, we are going to be doing a double crochet. And you can see the little gap, it's pretty much the same as the other side. So now here we are going to fasten off. So chain 1, cut the yarn and fasten off so that we can bring the next shade. So with the yellow, I'm going to be doing a slip knot, and I'm going to be attaching from where we left off. So we are not going to be turning right now. So we are going to be inserting into that last double crochet right on top, into the last double crochet, and then attaching with a single crochet, and then I'm going to chain 2. We are going to here turn project, and now we can just continue. So at the beginning is going to be 2 double crochets into the chain 1 space, and then you're going to chain 1, and then from here you're just going to be following the same steps. So every time you see a chain 1 space, you're going to be doing 3 double crochets, and when you get into the corner, you are going to be doing the corner, and then making sure that you do chain 1 in between the clusters. So chain 1, and then 3 double crochets into the next chain 1 space. And that's all we are going to be doing for this next row. So at the end, you're going to chain 1 and then into the chain 3 at the end, we are going to simply just create 3 double crochets. So it's going to be exactly the same as row here, number 4. And now, on top of this one, we are going to be doing row number 5. So starting with a chain of 3, turning project, and then 3 double crochets into the next chain 1 space. And then you can just repeat the same steps all the way at the top to the next corner, create the corner here, and then chain 1 and follow all the way down the same steps. I'm going to be doing this one off the camera because you know how to do this one already, and then I'm gonna come back with you right at the end so that I can show you one more time how to finish this row off. So when you get at the end of row number 7, just chain 1 and then find the chain right at the end. Into that chain, we are going to be doing a double crochet. So now we are pretty much done with our square. We just have to do one more round all the way around. So just chain 1, cut the yarn, fasten off, and bring the last shade, in which for me is the colorful yarn. So you can see the difference between this one and this one. This one has all the granny square pattern around, and this one doesn't. And you can see that it looks really nice. And you can do any shade. You can also do a different shade. You don't have to use the same as the petals. I just think that it looks really nice having the same, because then it looks like it's matching, kind of in a way. So for this last round, we are going to be attaching into the right side of our square, which is the one with the flower at the front, at the top. So the reverse looks like this. As you can see, it doesn't really have a flower. So this is the right side. I'm going to be doing a slip knot, and now you can choose any chain 1 space or even the corner to start. I'm going to be doing right here so that I can show you the corner and this side, because this one you already know what to do because you already have the stitches. So I'm going to show you these raw edges that we have, the raw sides, so you know exactly what you have to do. So into that one, I'm going to be attaching with a single crochet. So we are going to be starting with a chain of 2 and 2 double crochets into that same chain 1 space. So here we have the first cluster, and now we are going to chain 1 and create 3 double crochets into the next chain 1 space. So here's simple because we already have the pattern. And then now we get into the raw side. So into the corner here, you can see that we have the corner here on this side. So this one we are going to be using as the corner for our square. So we are going to chain 1 and then into this side, this corner, we are going to be creating 3 double crochets. So here we are going to be doing the corner. So 3 double crochets and then a chain of 2 and 3 double crochets. So we are going to be using this little space that we have as our corner. There we go. And then we are going to chain 1, and then we are going to be skipping this cluster, and then we are going to go into the double crochet, the sided double crochet, and then here we are going to be doing 3 double crochets all into the same sided double crochet, and then chain 1, skip this cluster, and then we got into this corner. So we are going to be using this little space to create the next 3 double crochets, the next cluster. So we are going to be doing 3 double crochets into that space and then chain 1. Now it's easy because we got into the square, so we have the little spaces. So create 3 double crochets into the next chain 1 space and then chain 1, 3 double crochets into the next chain 1 space, chain 1, and then you can create the corner and then you can follow the same into the other side, and then I will be back when I get into this point so that we can finish this other side off together, so you know exactly what you have to do. So I got here into the other side, so chain 1, and then you're going to be doing exactly the same as we did here on this side. So you're going to be finding next the corner of the white square that we've created around the flower. So into this corner, into this little space, we are going to be doing 3 double crochets so that we have a cluster here. And then you are going to chain 1, and then we are going to be skipping this sided cluster, going into the next little space available and creating 3 double crochets into that same space. Now chain 1, and we got into the other corner. So you can see here we have this corner, so we got into the end of this side. So into this space we are going to be doing the next corner. So 3 double crochets, a chain of 2 and 3 double crochets. So once you have this corner completed from the side that it's uneven, so we are using that little gap, we can now just follow the pattern as we were doing before all the way to the end. So we have one last corner to complete, so I'm going to be doing this and then I will be back right here at the end so that I can do the ending with you. So once you have the last 3 double crochets completed, you're going to chain 1 and then attach with a slip stitch into the chain at the beginning here. And then now we can fasten off. So chain 1, cut the yarn and fasten off, and our square is now completed. So now the last thing we have to do is to weave in. So I'm going to show you how I weave in one of them because all of the rest is the same. So I'm going to show you the middle and one of these ones. Get the yarn in the middle, thread into your tapestry needle, and then you're going to go through a couple of stitches going around just like this, and then you're going to go backwards into the same stitches but skipping the very first one, and then you go backwards and then skip the first one and then go backwards again into the same stitches. I do 4 times to make sure that it's secured in place, and then once you've done that we can cut the yarn and the weave-in is done. So now for the ones in the cluster, so you're going to thread this yarn into a tapestry needle, and then you're going to be using the stitches that you have here into the cluster. So skip the first one and then go back, make it a little bit, just a tiny little bit tight, and then skip the first one from this side and then go all the way to the other side and do that one more time. So skip the first one and then go back. That easy. Make it nice and tight. Now you can just cut it. It's that simple. So now I'm going to weave all the ends that I have here at the back, and then I will be back to show you how I like to attach these particular squares together, in which is using a tapestry needle and the same yarn that we've created this last round. So as you can see, I have finished doing all the weave-ins. So my square, it's now completed. and you can do as many squares as you need for the project that you are planning on doing. For now, I have 4 squares completed, so that I can show you how to sew them together and how they look. I like doing with 4 squares so that it creates a larger square. So basically 1 square with 4 flowers in the middle, and I think that's super beautiful. So I'm going to show you now how to attach them together. So first we have to turn them on the reverse, but you want to make sure that all the flowers are in the middle like this. So you're just going to be getting the 2 at the top and moving it down, turning it on the reverse, and then you're going to be moving these ones on the reverse, just like that. So all the flowers are here in the middle. And now you're gonna get the yarn. The way that I like attaching these squares here is by sewing with my tapestry needle and a little bit of the same yarn as the last round. But you can also join as you go these squares as well. It's very simple. I can maybe do a separate video on that for you, how to attach squares together. I just want to show you quickly how I do this. I did show you a couple of times me doing this, but just wanted to add this at the end because I really want to attach squares together. For some reason, I love doing this. And to know exactly how much yarn you will need, what I've learned by myself, you will get the yarn, and then you're going to be placing it right at the beginning where you're going to be doing the sewing, go all the way to the other side, and then you're going to return to the other side, kind of in a zigzag motion, 4 times in total. So you're going to be having 1, 2, 3, 4 times this, so you know that you will have enough yarn to go from one side to the other. You're still gonna have a little bit left, or sometimes even more. So get your tapestry needle. You're going to be threading this yarn into a tapestry needle. And then I like to start from this side or the other, it doesn't matter. So I'm going to be starting here. So it's a little bit easier to go like this. So we are going to be starting here in the corner. So you're gonna get the second chain from the corner. So we have the first one, you're gonna go into the second from this side, and then the second from the other side. And then you're going to be sewing that together, making sure that you leave a little tail here at the end so that you can weave in later. And then what I like to do is just create a knot. I usually do a triple knot here. And then after we are going to have the weave in, so that should be enough for this to be secured in place, just like that. And then from here, you can just grab 1 stitch from one side. So you can see here we have 3 double crochets. So go into the first one. If you want to have a detail on the other side, you're just gonna get the back loop from both sides. If you want a invisible kind of sewing, you're gonna get the entire stitch from both sides. So I'm going to do the entire stitch. So entire stitch from this side, entire stitch from the other, and sew it together. So entire stitch from one side, entire stitch from the other, and sew it together. Oops, the little tail is here on the way. There we go. And then you're just going to be repeating that all the way down. So 1 stitch from one side, 1 from the other, matching the stitches and sewing that together. When you get into the chain 1, grab the stitch from the chain 1 from one side and the stitch from the other, and sew the 2 together. So you want to make sure that you match all the stitches going down. So I'm going to sew all the way down. When I get into this corner and moving to this one, I will come back so that I can show you exactly what you have to do. So this is how the sewing looks like, as you can see. So I got into the other corner. So you're gonna go into the first chain from this side, and then you're gonna go through the first one from the other side. Like this. And then you're going to be bringing the other 2 squares that we are joining together. And then you're gonna go through the second chain from this one. So we have the first one from this corner, The first one, the second, go through the second chain on this side, and then the second one on the other side, and then sew it together. That's all you have to do. So now from here, you're gonna go straight into the first double crochet stitch, exactly what we've created here on this side. So go through the first one, entire stitch, and then the next one, entire stitch, and then sew it together. Make sure that the beginning here, you make it nice and tight so that it's not gonna slide like this. So you wanna make sure that the very first couple stitches, you make it nice and tight. And then you can just follow the same all the way down. So when you get towards the end, you're going to be doing exactly the same as you did here at the beginning. So you're gonna get the first chain from the corner, the first one you can find from this side, and the first one from the other side. Sew it together, and then you're gonna go into those two one more time. Don't go all the way through with the sewing, just leave a little loop. And before you sew all the way down, go through this loop like this and pull nice and tight, and this is going to fasten off the ending here. And then once this is done, you can just go ahead and weave this one in because it's already here on the tapestry needle. So you can just weave this in. So once the weave in is done, you can cut this yarn. And then if you want, you can weave the other side in. And look, this is all we have left from the sewing. So it's enough yarn for all this if you do that little trick that I showed you. So we've done this one. You can see it's attached together. So now you're just going to turn like this. And then you're going to be attaching the same way and then going all the way across. I'm going to be attaching and doing mine until here, and then I can show you how to go from one side to the other so that you know exactly what you have to do, and then you can just finish it off exactly the same as the other side. So when you get here in the middle, all you have to do first, I have to just match my stitches until I get really in the middle like this. And then here we have the chain one that we left on both sides. So go through the chain one from both sides and then sew them close together. And then what I like to do is just go through another stitch that is kind of close to the middle and then just start closing this middle like this. Just go like twice, 2-3 times. It's going to be up to you. And then from here, we can move to the other side. So find just another stitch from the other side. We have the chain ones on both sides. So one is here, one is here, like that. Hopefully it's focused. And sew the two together. And then you're gonna go through the first double crochet stitch and then the other one from the other side and sew it together. And that's it. And then from here, you can just go all the way down, following the same steps as previously. So I'm gonna go ahead and finish the sewing here, and then I'm going to do the weave in that I have to do, and then I will be back to show you how this one looks completed. So now here I have the sewing completed. Once you have all this done, we can now turn into the right side, and here we have our square made out of 4 other squares. So here we have it completed. It looks so cute. I love this so much. I cannot wait to do something with this. Let me know what I should make. Ideas are popping already into my head. So I cannot wait to share with you something using this beautiful pattern. And it's so easy, as you saw. You can make this so fast, and look at that, it's so pretty. So I really hope you guys have enjoyed today's tutorial, and if you end up making this one, or even if you try this pattern with some scrap yarn, or if you do something with this square, don't forget to tag me on Instagram if you post a picture so that I can show you some love and also I can see your creation. And also here you can see the beautiful sewing that we've created together in the video. I love this one. This is my favorite. This is my absolute favorite sewing when joining squares together. But remember, as I've mentioned, you don't have to do this one here. You can do with slip stitches, you can do with single crochets, or you can do the joining as you go. It's going to be completely up to you. This one is just the best one, and also is the quickest in my opinion, so it's going to be completely up to you which one you're going to be doing. So yeah, this is it for today's video. I really hope you have enjoyed. I hope you can make many different projects using this beautiful square. And yeah, thank you so much everyone for watching until the end. Don't forget to leave your massive thumbs up if you have enjoyed, and also don't forget to subscribe and to turn on the notification bell to receive notifications every time I post a new video. So thank you so much for watching again today's video, and I'll see you on my next one. Bye bye.